Hi guys, welcome to beautiful Utah. This makes Lake Seminole look so balmy right now. Anyways, I thought I'd do a little intro for perspective. This is my home lake. Yeah, and you can see it's snowing, but anyways, I wanted to talk really quick about Lake Seminole. It was my first national tournament, first time on a river fishing, first southern lake, first grass lake, first lake with flooded timber. Yeah, a lot of firsts. But boy, I had a good time. I had such a good time, and it was a really good learning experience for me. I learned so much doing this tournament. I met so many cool people. Like, I am really still on fire about it, and I'm a little hooked. I have to tell you, I'm a little hooked. You know, Lake Seminole is over 2,000 miles away from this wonderful balmy place, but I flew there. Christine Fisher and Ryan Lambert hooked me up with a native Titan that I borrowed, and that was great. There were some little hiccups. I was very grateful to have a boat that I was familiar with, that I could explore the lake. So anyways, I took a red eye on Wednesday night, and worked all day, went to the airport, flew all night, got to Tallahassee on Thursday morning, and then went to get the boat, and there was just a lot of stuff going on, and I got really distracted. So distracted that my friend Kathy and we went to go look at a boat ramp sort of in a rush, and we completely forgot to bring the kayaks with us. So that was a first. But so that's one thing I learned, is really there can be so much going on and you can get overwhelmed and sort of out of your element and new things, and it can just be really sort of melt your mind a little bit, get your emotions going. And it's really hard. It's a mental game to really just try and focus. I really couldn't do it that first day. I didn't even film. We went to Sealy Point, and it was grass. I guess it's grass. I don't know. Weed things just below this, up to just below surface, and then flooded timber. And when I mean flooded timber, like the tops of flooded trees just below the surface, and the wind was blowing. It was a little rough just to jump into that, and as the sun went down, I couldn't see the stumps anymore, and that really freaked me out. So the first day, Thursday, pre-fishing, pretty much decided that wasn't the spot. I had spent weeks watching videos, taking notes, looking at maps, marking pinpoints, looking at staging points and everything. And when I got there, there was a storm going through, and everything was out the window, and that really threw me for a loop too. So Friday was a stormy day. We took a little slower start just to get ourselves organized. Today is a new day. Yesterday was a giant test and perseverance, and at some point you just gotta laugh. But yeah, so goals for today: get the kayaks to the boat ramp. We're starting small. We may have gone to the boat ramp in a severely distracted state and forgot the kayaks. So, if you're ever feeling bad, that'll give you a good laugh. And we've been doing like tech support, fix the yaks, and just having a good time. So I think the key, if you're a new person that's wanting to do these big tournaments, is Kathy said drink a lot. I didn't drink a lot. I had one margarita, but try and keep a good attitude. I really struggled keeping a good attitude yesterday. Don't let the small stuff get to you. Again, this is one of the do as I say, not as I do. Shake it off. I did try it. I even did like Taylor Swift singing yesterday of Shake It Off. I'm telling you, it was awesome. Like, it was like if Lake Seminole got talent, it was totally totally there. And yeah, so just, you know, have fun, don't let the little stuff annoy you, and just go out there and fish and see what happens. And yeah, today's a new day. I can tell it's gonna be awesome already. I'm excited for it. I'm just gonna float on the river. I'm gonna chuck my lure in and try and break down these mappy maps. But I mean, I've done so much map study and reading and everything I prepped for, it did. At this point, maybe it'll matter during the tournament. But yeah, I don't know. All that prep work, like, I've got a good mental plan, but the way the weather is and the fish are right now, it doesn't matter.
The grass height.
It is the weather and there's been storms rolling in like every, I don't know, 36 hours. And apparently these bass are just super emo. And like, if they don't have everything perfect, they ain't playing. We decided to go check out some ramps. And we went and checked out the Faceville landing on the Flint River. And there were some reasons for this. When I was looking at the maps, they were looking at just the storm, the wind, and it looked like it offered some chances for shelter if the weather got really, really bad. Because I didn't know what to expect. I'd never been on a river. It had coves. It had a deep river channel. It had vegetation in the coves. It had one of the coves had a creek. There were some passages on the other side of the river that went really shallow, which I would assume were some spawning flats. It had bends in the river that I thought, you know, supposedly there's shoal bass in there. So if you have like some bends, it's gonna push bait up against that. And then, I mean, I'm used to like current from saltwater. So in a way I was thinking of saltwater, but from the bends on the river there. But then you look at like where it has a point that breaks and you have like an eddy line of calmer water, you know, the bait fish maybe get wrapped around that edge, and then that calmer water you might find fish that eat other fish. So that was sort of what I was looking for. It had a variety of options. Further up river had sort of an island and a big flat area with a lot of submerged vegetation, a lot of different points. So that was my goal, was to look at some staging points and have a lot of different options in a not a huge area and be out of the way of bass boats and everything else. So that's where we went for our pre-fishing, and it was pouring rain. It was cold. We got this, Kathy. Ta-da. Look at that, man. So I had to take notes of all the things I learned just to keep track of it. I have a little book that I wrote everything into it, and I'll be putting these notes into that book. And then I'll have that for if I ever, you know, I really want to go back. So one thing I definitely felt is I underestimated on the amount of time I needed to pre-fish. Even though I had sort of 1.5 days, I think if I had an extra day, like 2.5, 3, it would have been better, because the weather was so crazy and the fish were so dispersed, and there was no consistent pattern that I found for where I was, that I think by the second day of the tournament I was actually starting to crack it. Like, I felt like I was like getting a clue. I caught a couple in pre-fishing. Day 1 didn't catch anything. Day 2 though, I had a whole nother approach to it. I started dragging a jig. And I'll get to that later about playing your strengths. So there was a deep riverbank. They were staged up deep, and I decided I'm gonna drag a jig along the bottom of that river. And that's not easy in the current, and there's like stuff coming down and deadheads and vegetation that broke loose, and because it flooded a little bit. I'm gonna try and tie on this jig here. think this is a Buckeye jig that I got a long time ago. Buckeye Flat-Top, so it does that. I don't know what the heck I got on as a trailer, but I'm just gonna use it. And I got a really nice strike, but I was so shocked I got a strike. I really did set the hook and I lost that fish. I had one. I had a bass. I had something on here. Damn it. I had something on this jig. I didn't set the hook. I thought I was hitting wood or something. I didn't set the hook. Nope, I had a fish. I had a fish on. That gives me hope. But again, I started feeling like I was cracking it. I think if I had had more time, I could have gotten there, which is why I really want to go back. I had made so many pinpoints on my map. I must have had like 60 or 70 different points that I had picked out as like staging areas, pre-spawn areas, places fish would gather. And I think they're all legit. I don't think I was off on those. But what I should have done was order them in a priority of ones that I think are really things I want to check out first. I didn't do that, and it was sort of haphazard, and I got sort of confused and overwhelmed, and just everything went out the window. So that would have helped to really prioritize the ones that I felt were good spots. So I guess the other thing I learned was explore more. I had a really good area. We had a really good area picked out. And I went in the second cove, and I had caught stuff at pre-fishing in that cove. And day one of the tournament, I didn't spend a lot of time in there, and I really should have. And I didn't explore back in there. And on day two, I explored back in there, and the creek that I thought was not much, it was huge. And I found bait fish, and right about then, I had found all these bait fish, and I actually got a strike. Look at that up there. All right, well, this is a new thing. These are Elastec boar hogs, and a bullets, finesse bullets weight. There you go. And I'm just gonna give this a try. New things in a new place. Had a fish. I had one and I lost it. I've lost two nice fish. Look, 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 look. Did you see that? Did you see that? I saw that. That was something. Something jumping, which means there's something chasing it. Maybe. That's what I'm hoping. Chasing it. Whatever's chasing a little fish. It might be in the secret spot right now. Look, 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 look. See that? Something. What the heck was that? Other thing I learned. Don't be afraid to move spots and try new things sooner instead of grinding in one spot. It was a really grindy tournament, and honestly, I don't know for sure that would have made a big difference, but I think I was a little hesitant, more than I would have been normally at my home lakes, to just go move spots. I should have maybe entertained that option a little more. Definitely the one thing I did do through this was try and have a sense of humor and try and keep a positive mental attitude and have fun. And that really, I think, can help with any tournament, whether you're just slaying them or you're having a rough time. That the mental attitude and keeping a positive outlook really makes a difference between a trip that's terrible and a trip that's challenging. And for me, it was really challenging and fun. Like, it's a puzzle I want to figure out. And I'm gonna be back and figure that puzzle out. But I think being agile and being able to be versatile and have fun and just live in the moment and enjoy that I'm in a really cool place, and it's not this it's not a frozen lake. It really made a big difference for me. I just loved it. I loved it. Other things. I know this is a long list. I learned a lot. All right. Eating during the time on the water and eating well before and after, I did crappy at that. I did have a good breakfast most days, but lunch, dinner was okay. But the midday stuff, I should have had some better sustenance. I think that would have helped. And I didn't drink enough fluids. And that's a killer for me. And I honestly don't know why I didn't. I just didn't. And I should have done that. I think it would have helped me think better. I think I got dehydrated and chilled, which is not a good combination. So along with rest, like, I didn't get to bed very early. Like, I'd say 1 o'clock the night before the big day, and maybe 11:30 the next one. I really could have used going to bed early. I think that would have helped me feel more refreshed. I wasn't stressed out. It was just stuff, little stuff, getting stuff ready, and just noise. And I just, didn't sleep good, and that impacted me a bit. Along with maybe like a little spare wristwatch or something like that, put in the car, if you're not going to carry it in the yak in like a waterproof container, at least in your car, bring a power bank and your cords. I had a power bank and a cord for my Android, but Kathy had an iPhone, and she actually caught a fish and went to go upload it, and she discovered she had 1% on her phone. Yeah, go girl, go! Woo! Yeah, Kathy! You got it, girl. Smile, smile. I got it. All right, dude, look at that. I'm so proud of you.
Oh, Jesus. 17 and a quarter.
Damn! Good job. So we had to stop fishing and go back and get the phone charged enough so she could upload her fish. So having the right cords and the batteries is key, because stuff happens. And I think because it was so cold, the batteries discharged faster. So that's another thing to remember. If you're out somewhere like this, the batteries just burn. One last thing, bring spare clothing items. Honestly, I was like, Florida, it's gonna be warm. It might get a little chilly, but I thought maybe, even if I looked at the forecast and I thought it's gonna be 60s. It wasn't. And by the time I got there, everything had changed, and I only had one set of thermals. So I wore that for one set for 4 days. I was sort of embarrassed to meet people because I'm like, I know I smell like just a disgusting fishy kayaker right now. But I didn't feel like, if I had known it was going to be as cold and 39 and 37 degrees, I would have brought what I had right now. And I would have been much happier with that, having that kind of clothes, and I left them at home. So I think bring multiple options of clothing for hot and cold. Bring, like I had one set of gloves. Well, tried my underspin for a while. I got a little glue stick on here. And they are these sort of wool, merino wool gloves with fingerless tips. And they did help. We had gotten like, Kathy had brought like hot hands, and I put those in the gloves. But here's a problem. It rained all day Friday. And so my gloves were soaking wet. And come Saturday, I couldn't get my gloves dry. And so I had to put on wet gloves for 2 days. And that was hard. That didn't help. And I think having wet things chilled me. I got a little hypothermic on Saturday. It took me a long time to warm up, till I had dinner really late on Saturday, like maybe 10 o'clock I finally got warm. So anyways, that's what I'd like to say. I hope some of these tips helps you if you're feeling like you want to try some of these bigger tournaments, especially our lady anglers out there. Please, I think go for it. Go try it. Do some map study. Use some of my tips here to help you prepare so you don't maybe make some of the same mistakes I will. But it's a big learning curve, but it's a fun learning curve. And I just felt so blessed to get to do this event, and I learned so much. And at each time, like, I'm gonna keep doing these. And I know I'm sounding like a crazy woman, and I know I suck, and I know I'm gonna be probably in last place, and maybe I don't catch fish. But I don't care, because I love it and I'm learning so much. And then the only way I'm gonna learn it is to do it and get out on the water. So I hope you enjoy some of these clips from our travels on Lake Seminole with the first Hobie B.O.S. It was a very tough tournament, but I can't wait to get back out there. Thanks a lot, guys. Enjoy. Bye-bye. It's pretty like that.